All right. Shalom, Israel. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praises, honor, glory, and fear to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rahakodash. Also want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who I learned this truth from, and peace and salutations to the Lord's hopeful elect. All right, back at it through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. Just watching, and it was on my spirit as I woke up this morning. Lord put it on my spirit to speak on these things, being that we're seeing these two major stumbling blocks. Now, of course, there's a lot of stumbling block, a lot of subjects of the Bible that our people stumble upon, and it causes them to err. Both the people who know that they're Hebrew Israelites, as well as everybody else, man, that open up the Bible. But there seems to be two recurring themes, man, in relation to law, statutes, and commandments. And the Spirit was on me just to briefly touch on it. So I'm gonna go into those two main things. The long hair being a shame for a man, kind of why and what that's all about, as well as not men not having their head covered when they're praying or prophesying. Okay, so this seems to be a huge stumbling block. You got this issue with the former Sakari people and everybody else that want to have long hair or have their head covered or buck up against it. Now, I was researching the issue of what is the difference between law, statutes, and commandments. I came across this brother, uh Benayah. Okay. I don't know. I think he's in the UK. But he went in on it, man, and he broke it down so much so it's a little bit too deep for me to teach. But the Lord put a spirit upon me to simplify it and just keep it at the statutes portion, because truth be told, the commandments are self-explanatory, especially as it relates to the 10. Now we start talking about the statutes. Are what's the difference between the commandments and statutes? And you brothers should check this video out. He went in, man, 2 hours. I'm finna like simplify in relation to those two stumbling blocks though. So I just, the definition, as you see, for commandment, all right, it says, and he went in, and I'm gonna go into some of these words too, but just to pop this thing off, man. So the commandment, here's like a basic definition. All right, it says the direct, authoritative moral commands decreed directly by the sovereign king. Who is that? Yahweh and Yahweh Shah. So that's direct. So I like to, for the sake of this lesson, let's simplify it, because what is 613? So study statue. I mean, we'll be here all day. So we want to simplify it. Let's just talk about the 10 commandments, right, and use that as an example of direct, authoritative moral commands. And within some of our commandments, like thou shalt not murder, right, thou shalt not kill, it says, that's universal. That's every human on earth should adhere to that portion. But there's some things that aren't universal, that are specifically for our nation, and we're going to talk about that. But again, that's pretty much the definition of the commandments. It's the direct, and I'm using the 10 as an example of direct, authoritative moral commands decreed directly by the sovereign king, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. Universal moral absolutes that transcend generation. Okay, now some of these things, especially in relation to our statutes, okay, ain't universal. And it's so much so that if you tell them, hey, this is how we rock, okay, then it's a stumbling block to them. They don't understand. And a prime example of, let me get statutes first. All right, so here's the definition for statutes, man. It says ceremonial or ritualistic boundaries engraved into the code of holiness. That word holy means set apart. So this is what we're getting into. These are further going down the line of how the Lord is dealing with us. All right, he's giving us direct orders to keep us separated from these clowns. Now he's giving us even more peculiar things that keep us separated from these clowns. And who are we if we, and I'm let me finish the definition. But who are we to tell the Lord how to rock, decrees that often, and here's the point of it all. Here's a great point. I love this, man, because there are decrees that often, listen to that word, often bypass direct human logical reasoning, like the specific things that the Lord got me going into today. The long hair for a man being ashamed, and not having your freaking head covered when you're praying or prophesying, man. That is bypassing direct human logical reasoning. Remember, the Lord say a carnal mind is enmity, which means against, contrary to against Yahweh Shema Shah, it can't be subject to the law. All right, so that's what we're experiencing with all these other false prophets. It is a sign that there are false prophets if they can't get with the Lord's program. Now, and these aren't the examples I'm going. I want to keep it at those two, but an example of statutes that bypass human reasoning, is before Malachi Hawashai made itself a living sacrifice for the hopeful elect. What were we doing? How did we be reckoning back to Yahweh? All right, by Shema Shah, through sacrifices via animal. And there was a whole way that and I'm definitely not going into that, okay, today, but there was a whole way that we were to conduct ourselves in order to repent to Yahweh Shema Shah in relation to the sacrifices, man. The way, the order of the animal sacrifices are part of our statutes, man. And again, the law, statutes, and commandments, they're all intertwined together. And the brother was going into that. So, I'm gonna let that brother have let Yahweh Shema Shah through that brother have his glory for this lesson, man, because he went in. But again, I'm keeping it to the statutes of long hair and not having your head covered while you pray, because it seems to be a stumbling block. And again, for you new brothers, sisters, or for brothers that's been in this thing for a little bit, it's good to touch on these things so we know, so the people won't just think that we're just bugging out, we just saying it just to be hard. No, there's a reason why, and it's very, very simple. If you are one of the Lords, if you're not, you're probably gonna buck up against the simple things of the scriptures, like what we're talking about today. So let's get into this, man. Pray be edifying. First and foremost, in 2 Timothy, set this thing up. 2 Timothy 3:16, it says, all scripture is given by inspiration of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. That is to say that everything written in his Bible was the will of the Lord, contrary to popular belief, and is profitable. So you can use this, all right? And it's profitable for what? Doctrine, reproof, to correct people, for correction, okay? For instruction in righteousness. So all these things is the purpose of the Bible. It's teaching us doctrine, okay? Or reproof, correction, and instruction in righteousness. Ultimately, how one is to obtain salvation. That's not this lesson, all right? But we're going to tell you the fear of the Lord is the beginning of the process, okay? But that's the point of the Bible. All scripture, which means every word in this Bible, starting with in, right? That's the first word in the beginning, right? In, and then I think the last one is amen. It's all given by Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah. Now, getting into this now, let's go to the book of 1 Peter. I just woke up. 1 Peter 2:9. But ye who, you so-called black, so-called Native American, so-called Latino, and then you speckled bird Israelites that don't look traditionally like an Israelite, you're the chosen generation, okay? A royal priesthood. So we speak about that often, being royal. A holy nation. Again, that word holy means set apart. Set apart from what and who? The other nations on the earth and what they do. Talk about, and I did that earlier. Maybe I should have put in this lesson, but like rounding of the head, there's a reason why the Lord told us not to round the corners of our heads and things. And I did a lesson when I first came into the truth about some old weird tribes. I don't know who they were, man. So they looked like some Asianic type people, but they was out, doing their tribal stuff out in the Amazon and stuff. And that was a part. They would take blades of a plant, and they would shave off the corners of their head with that chili bowl shit. I'm talking about as chili bowl as you could possibly, imagine. And that's a part of their customs, their statutes of how they're tribed, which ain't got nothing to do with our God rocks. That's what the Lord is trying to prevent us from becoming like the other nations. And guess what? We did all the way with it. That's why we was put in captivity here to this very day for that same type of behavior, being like them, our men being weak and succumbing to the spirit that's on the weaker vessel, the woman. And adhering to all these doctrines that ain't the doctrine of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah. So again, a holy nation set apart, a peculiar people. Did I get that? Yes, this is the Edom online, all right, for peculiar. So it says, belonging exclusively to one person. Who do we belong to, man? Yahweh, hopefully, all right, Bahashem Yahweh Shah, and we can only be Yahweh's through his only begotten son, Yahweh Shah, and the Lord has allowed us to teach the process thereof. And it also says special, particular. So again, it's two things here. Peculiar is belonging to somebody. So when the Lord say you're peculiar people, what's he saying? You're mine. Okay, you're mine. And the reason why you're mine is because I've given you Yahweh Shah, first and foremost, and these law, statutes, and commandments to keep you, because you're gonna be interacting with them, mingling with them, and to keep you different, separated, clean from these other people, because they're weird, man. They're weird, and we see that now more than ever. But also special, set apart. So again, holy, ultimately what special is going into, holy, set apart from the rest of these heathen nations on the earth. It's very simple, to be honest. Okay, one more time, we're going to the book of Deuteronomy 14:2. For thou art an set apart holy people, set apart from the rest of these clowns. The Lord already knew what he was going to create all these other nations to interact with us. And you see what happened. They end up having us in captivity because of our transgressions of this very thing in which we're talking about, or these law, statutes, and commandments. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God, which is that all caps, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and the Lord hath chosen thee to what? Be a peculiar, again, to his own and special people unto himself. Check this out. Above all the nations that are upon the earth. And what makes us above the other nations? Yahweh Shai and the law, statutes, and commandments, man, which we're supposed to adhere to the best of our ability, which keeps us not behaving, rocking, talking, dressing, looking, smelling, doing, performing, okay, like these heathen nations, because they by the Lord design, and the Lord deals with left hand and stuff. And I'm gonna might do a lesson going into deeps, because I've been on that Rothschild stuff again, and just show you how it's ultimately the Lord, really he really getting down with that. That's pretty cool, man. But again, all nations above, so that's not equal to, right? Not equal to. The Lord is saying, we're supposed to be peculiar, set apart, holy, and not equal to, but above. And it is in fact Yahweh Shah in the law is what governs us to keep us above. Thus saith Yahweh Shema Shah, these other nations on the earth. So let's look at some of again, I'm keeping it simple. 613 laws, keeping it at the 10. You should know what the 10 commandments are. So let's say that these statutes that we're getting ready to look at aren't per se a commandment, but they are in the realm of, and what we say it was, brother, the definition, ceremonial or ritualistic. Remember, this is our what they call it, basically, we don't use that word a lot, but this is our religion, basically. And within our religion, we have these statutes, all right, and it's saying, they're ceremony or ritualistic boundaries that are engraved into the code, the DNA of how we rock, okay. Holiness decreed, and again, the point, great point, man, decrees that often bypass direct human logical reasoning. Remember what I said, the carnal mind, which means the flesh, it's against the law. It can't be subject to the law. So these two things, not having your head covered as a man when you pray or prophesy, and it being ashamed to have long hair, is it's bypassing direct human logical reasoning. Mean they're not speaking in this true spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah. They're carnal, which probably means 10 times out of 10 they're false prophets, unless the Lord revealed it. They can come up out of that shit, because it's so easy and it's such a blatant sign. And I'm gonna get into it, man. Let me bring it out first. All right, so let's start with the head covering. And this is gonna be real simple. It's not that, dude. If you're receptive to the spirit of the Lord, if you're his, this is so easy, man. This is one thing that we can do easy to show the Lord that we have respect for him. So straight to the point, man. And these are statutes, my brothers, okay? Because again, I'm keeping it simple by saying, hey, this isn't the 10 commandments. Now, is it? But it is, however, a commandment, if you will. Now, a statute. Remember, they're all intertwined together. It all is given. That's why I started off through the Spirit saying it's all given by inspiration of the Lord. If you're not his, it's going to be a stumbling block unto you. It's bypassing your fleshly, carnal logic. Why? It seems so simple. We get it, dude. We're humans, all right. We're having this human experience. We get it, dude. It seems like so simple, like it doesn't matter because we know that the Lord hear us, or if we do have a freaking something on our head. But the whole point is that fear and obedience, which you guys are lacking, and the Lord got us correcting you fools out here, man. So our people won't be like you and get caught up in that madness about something so simple and then be judged and then had the Lord angry at them for something so simple. All right, so again, 1 Corinthians 11:4, every man praying or prophesying. So that's when you praying to the Lord, prophesying. And if you really about this life, it's anything spiritual. I've seen brothers, after camp, just talking, and it may get spiritual. Brother may have a ball cap on, do rag, what have you. Bam! Once he start talking about Yahweh Shemashah or anything spiritual, it's nothing, and no ain't no camera on, buddy. Take it all real quick. Boom. Once he done like chopping up with the spiritual, boom, cap back on. How hard is that? And that's off the camera. That shows you how much integrity, certain men of Yahweh Shemashah have versus other men. So again, every man praying or prophesying. So prophesying, you out on the highways and byways when we're doing these epistles, even when the camera not on, man. All right. So every man that do these things, do these spiritual things, and specifically these two, having his head covered, dishonor his head. Ultimately, man, having Yahweh Bahashim Hawashah as your head. This is, the way that the Lord manifests this obedience, and he'll manifest it by giving you, these law, statutes, and commandments. So it's going to manifest in a way when you pray or prophesy to show that you're not trying to be above Yahweh Bahashim Hawashah, and you take that damn covering off of your head and you give honor to Yahweh Bahashim Hawashah, or else you're dishonoring the head, which is Yahweh Bahashim Hawashah. Now for the woman, it's completely different. Not going into that portion. This is for the men, okay? Every man praying and prophesying, having his head covered, dishonor his head, okay? And it's something so simple that the Lord is using as a stumbling block for these weak, effeminate dudes out here, man. They're still carnal. They still want to be a part of the world. And I'm telling you, bro, it's something so simple that they cannot do. It's probably because they're not prophets of Yahweh Bashim Hawashah, or let me say it like this: they're false prophets of Yahweh Bahashim and Hawashah, because the Lord set them up, man. But he set them up for his hopeful elect to see through them and to battle, whatever they're trying to promote that's against Yahweh Bahashim and Hawashah. Now, and here's a real, because it's pretty self-explanatory. Like, if you, like, why do I have to, go too deep into this? You should understand that. But this whole long hair thing, when I first came into this, I got hair now, man, and brothers have hair, and we're gonna talk about this. And I was in the process of having my hair get locked up, but I took them out, man. Once I heard that, that was against our statutes, man. That was a part of the heathen custom. That's how they rock, man, matting their hair up like that. Now we got ways to be peculiar and things like that when it comes to our hair, and with the natural salt, you should know how to be Jake. Let me say, you should know how to serve the Lord first, keep his law, statutes, commandments, and also operate a level BJ. You should know how to adorn your body with jewels without going against the law and things like that. How to put that shit on without looking like a heathen, basically. How to wear your hair, whether male or female, or without looking like the heathens. So if that means that men shouldn't have dreadlocks, what that mean about you sisters out there? I'm just saying. Mm. I'm just saying. All right, so 1 Corinthians 11:14. All right, here we go. And this is like the whole, like, doth not nature. Remember, this ain't necessarily one of the 10 commandments or necessarily a quote unquote direct. Remember what we say? A direct. Let me get it. For the definition of commandment. A direct, authoritative, moral command decreed directly by the sovereign king, Yahweh Shema Shah. And when the Lord gave us them 10, you knew it was coming from him. You know what I mean? Via the stones that he engraved via the chair and gave it to Moses. Okay, you knew that was Yahweh Shema Shah giving that. But we started to trickle down. They'll think that that these statutes come from man. I just told you through the Spirit. 2 Timothy 3:16 is from Yahweh Shema Shah. So, 1 Corinthians 11, And 14, okay, let's do it. Doth not nature itself teach you? So the Edom Online nature, it says restorative powers of the body, bodily processes. So the Lord is telling us, let's go back again. Doth not nature itself teach you that if a man have long hair, it is a shame unto him? Now going back to the definition, the bodily processes. So nature, the natural process, the difference. But so we have similar functions of our body, male, female, right? We have arms, legs, and things. But then you start breaking it down, getting to the biology. There's differences, man. All right, organisms, the function. You know what I mean? The fact, hey, the ovaries, and I'm not forgetting into this, but you should know that there's a freaking difference. That's the whole point. There's a difference between man and woman, and it's a natural understanding in relation to nature, right? She has, if whether she big, skinny, women for the most part are like naturally like curvy. It's for a reason, man. They're feminine, that they're supposed to be, and when they carry themselves, man, you are supposed to Eve have this long hair that cover your secret parts. And the reason why the Lord is telling us this, because it can be a stumbling block. Let me go to the depths of wickedness with that stumbling block. Men that want to turn themselves into female, that's against nature. So you could be prime example, and that goes for just niggas with long hair. It doesn't matter your birth, and we'll talk about what, kind of how I feel through the spirit, what classifies that, because where it's saying in the Bible what classifies long hair, because brothers have braids in this thing, afros and things, but we'll talk about it just through the spirit, because it ain't no law or in this Bible that says, hey, this many inches classifies long hair. We'll tell you what the hell the Lord does say classifies long hair: nature. When you look at a person, so let's say in relation to a man that want to turn himself into a female, and that's from head to toe. So first thing you do is get that long hair, then he's gonna put up makeup, nails, and to the point of the depths of wickedness, he'll change his organs. So you're seeing, let's take it from the back, let's say driving, or you see this motherfucker from the back, first glimpse, you looking, maybe have a desire, right? Or look, just seeing the silhouette, maybe if you're not jacked up, you know what I'm saying? You may think that this is a woman. Let's say you're on the way to maybe try to holler at this person that you from the back looks like a woman, because they have this long ass hair and a dress on, all right, and then went through surgery. Now I'm saying this is the depths of it, all right. So that's gonna what? Just come on, it's simple. It's gonna cause you to air, cause you to go off, man, cause you to desire, thinking that that's a woman and it be a man. Now you in the realm of sodomy. It's producing confusion. Same thing with men that have long hair and this truth. Now, that's not the depths of wickedness of completely changing your genetic makeup, all right, to be a woman. But I'm telling you, nature will tell you that if you like are out in the world, man. It says, yeah, nature being principle of life, character, essence. Remember, there's a difference between male and woman. I mentioned we both have hands, right? Legs, arms, we both have that. But the essence of a woman, right? Going back into that feminine energy, and a part of a woman being feminine is having that long hair that cover her secret parts, man. Now, again, nature tells me, all right, through, on supping with Yahweh Shemashah, the Lord supping with me, I have hair. And a real reason I ended up growing my hair, man, I just started giving a damn for real. But honestly, it was before I came into the truth, and I was gonna lock my hair up. But honestly, man, I was living in the A, and it was my last time, because and I'm listening to the prices of these haircuts and shit these days. $100. Are you crazy? Man, them folks told me that was around 2016, I think. Boy, them folks told me it was 40. I was going at 40. These niggas is paying 100. I'm talking about, I've had my hair ever since, man. I was going at $40. I'm not paying no $40 to you goofball for this whack ass haircut. That's it. I'm just gonna grow my shit out. All right, but what does nature tell you in relation to, like, and our hair is peculiar as well, man. I'ma just keep it honest. I believe, like my hair now, I wear it like a man. Sometimes I'll get it braided, but I really just wear my fro out, or you know what I mean. I just have it how any old type of way. I really don't care. Now, truth be told, if I was to take a flat iron, right, or a hot comb, or a fucking perm, which we're not doing none of that shit, dog. My hair would probably touch my shoulders. The peculiarness of an Israelite is our hair, defies the laws of gravity. It grow up, so I don't have to wear my hair long and pressed like a perm or what they call that, a press. Okay, like a female. I say, because there is no direct saying, hey, this many inches, just nature. I, as a man, for brothers that do have hair, I wouldn't let it touch your shoulder. To me, I think that once you start touching your shoulder, it's gonna produce that spirit of confusion, right? You look from the back and you start seeing, like, especially when you're driving, man. Cause especially when you young Jay, you be on it. You see female from a mile away. I can see a red bone from a mile away, boy. You can see that body, that hair from a mile away, and that's what I'm trying to get into through the spirit to tell you. That's why the Lord don't want us having long hair, because we look like a girl, and it's a shame to us because it's not the essence of a man. Okay, be Jake. If you want to have hair braids, you can do that. It's not unlawful to because you see brothers got it all the time, but ain't no brother that's truly serving y'all by Shema Al gonna dread his shit up, and ain't no brother that's serving y'all by Shema Al gonna have braids long enough that's touching his motherfucking shoulder, his back, or just like I said, ain't no brother finna be out there with a damn pressing curl, all right, or some damn prime example. I already had, y'all probably seen it. Your boy Sauce Walker is the prime example of this shit, bro. Like, and the thing about it, when that brother, he's a man, he be in his folly. When he talk, he be in his folly, and he just weird. But when he rap, boy, he got some, yeah, he be on point. He be them ghetto gospels. Hey, check that out. That brother be snapping. He be on point when he be Jake when he rapping. But outside of that booth, look how he carries himself. And he probably look like a so-called, let's say, real nigga. But do you look like it, brother? Do you look like a quote unquote real nigga with all those color barrettes and bows in your hair? You don't have to wear your hair like that. Come on, bro. You're compromised, man. And that's the spirit of Jay. You get so, I got this salt that I'm going to just do all type of weirdo stuff. No, you got to follow and the thing about it, you have freelance to adorn your body the way that you want to. That's the point of us having salt and being Israelite. Rock your shit. You see the brothers different garments. Sometimes and brothers got different garments. Sometimes brothers want to go straight sackcloth brown with it, right? And then sometimes you see brothers, they'll go all out and put different, put the name of the Lord, whatever, different colors and things. That's the salt, but it's not unlawful. Look at how those other camps with their uniform shit. That's probably a sign, man, that ain't authentic. You guys are coming in a militant spirit, and the Lord is exposing every last one of these Israelite groups. You just got to trust the process, man. But you see what I'm talking about? This is shame wearing those barrettes, man. Why? Because nature will tell yourself, if you was to see this nigga in the car, all right, driving, I'm saying you're behind him and he don't have that hat and you just see barrettes. See, you can't see his silhouette as a man. That's why I use the car example, because I've done plenty of time looking at it, but you can see, like, you may, how how Eve, you may, shit, I love some braids on Dookie, all that 90s Dookie braids, shit, love that shit. And you can see it from a mile away, from, especially if you're a guy, you can see a woman's hair, how she got her hair from a mile away in that car in that front seat. Oh, I know that's a little shout out there. Oh yeah, yeah. But if you're around here with the long hair, you're causing other men to go off. You're causing us. I might come up trying to, I might swerve. Back in the day, I've seen, man, we done pull women on the highway in our day. Really, I was going to do it for California. It wasn't necessarily, let me not say, they wasn't me. He did it. I seen him pull a girl on the highway. Yeah, going full speed. Roll your window down type shit. Yeah, because you could see that hair from a mile away, because we knew that was a woman. What if, like, we pull up and you see them color barrettes or whatever, which is, I mean, not only is that effeminate, it's also fucking childish, man. That's what little girls wear. Do you see what I'm talking about? You run around here like a little girl. You know what I mean? And again, brothers got braids, man. That's the salt. You know what I mean? And you see the reason I didn't grow my hair out to look cute for Eve and shit like that. You know what I mean? A lot of brothers just grew their hair out. Man, I spent time in the military. I'm tired of that shit, man. I just let my shit rock, man. You know what I mean? Just let it rock. But that's pretty much the whole point, man. Pretty much, that's like, without getting too deep, because again, we're 613, just really, because that's why I wanted to show y'all brothers that page of the brother. I don't, like I said, I don't know if he's a part of GMS, but he sounds like he in the UK. But yeah, this brother here, Ben Benayah, All right, the servant, he went in on the difference between law, statutes, and commandments. And truth be told, it's not something that I've heard taught a lot. He's really, honestly, the first brother that I personally heard really break it down like that. Hey, what is the actual? And I asked the Lord when I woke up this morning, what's the actual difference? Because I saw that video about the dudes bucking up against the damn head covering thing, man. You know, and I'm like, what's actually the difference between? Because we use it all the time, man. So we got to study to show ourselves approved. And the Lord was with this brother, man. He went in. It was just too much for me because I was just so ready to get off this epistle, man. And so I kept it through the Spirit at those two stumbling blocks, the head covering and it being a shame unto you. Why, nigga, you look like a girl? That's why it's shameful. That means you're not coming in the essence, like we read about nature of a man. There's a certain way, you know, we carry ourselves. There's a certain way we talk. There's a certain level of integrity that pertains to the essence of a man, especially the essence of a man, a Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Everybody that bucks up against that probably, remember what it said about those statutes, man. See, again, that's why we say commandment, keep the Lord's law, statutes, and commandments, man. And we can't keep them perfectly. Like it says, they often bypass direct human logical reasoning. So mixed fabrics, not a direct one of the 10 commandments. Let's use that for an example. All right, but it is a statute, okay? But it bypasses human logical reasoning. Why is the Lord saying we can't wear mixed fabrics? Well, we understand. I'm not going to teach that today, but it's for a reason, man. All right. And if you respect the Lord, you will adhere to it, or at least try to. Just like I said, I had my hair twisted up when I first came into the truth, and I was fucking mad about it because I didn't understand. I'm like, but these niggas is just acting like, you know, they. I mean, come on, like, who cares? That's how I felt, man. Hey, how about Shema? How should I care? And don't think of it like he's being like, I don't want to. He's austere. I got to say that, but not. It's not. It's a reason. It's for his glory. You know what I mean? I was gonna say our glory, but it's to keep us not from looking like some punks, man. Because that's pertaining to the heathens. That's pertaining to the other nation. They're punks. They're not supposed to be sodomites of our nation. They're not supposed to be whores or the daughters of Zion. You see what's going on though. All right. And it starts with the stumbling block of the law. So with that, I pray that this was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, glory, and fear. And again, the Wadi Abba Hashem Hawashah. Until next time, Shalom.